In this video, I'm going to be ranking many well-known open bodybuilders of 2025 in a tier list. The rankings will be based on physique caliber, dominance during the season, and performance at the top tier shows. For the tiers, S+ tier represents the best elite physiques who dominated major shows or won the biggest titles. S tier includes top contenders with amazing looks and very strong showings who are right below the absolute best. A tier features consistent competitors and show winners, with pretty impressive physiques overall, but some sort of small weakness or less momentum. B tier covers solid competitors and rising stars, who performed well this year but have yet to break into elite contention. And finally, we have C tier, which includes competitors who are more fan favorites, but definitely missed the mark this year. Alright, starting off with Juan Pradell, one of the youngest and newest competitors in the open class, and who already has made a serious impression at the end of 2025. After taking nearly 2 full years to grow, he returned to the stage during the post-Olympia tour and showed just how much progress he's made. He placed 3rd at the British Grand Prix, 5th at the Prague Pro, 2nd in Poland, and most notably 2nd to Andrew Jacked at the Romania Pro. While he did not pick up a win standing toe-to-toe with names like Samson Dao, Martin Fitzwwater, and even Keon Pearson, proved that he belongs among the division's best. Now, physically, he does have an incredible structure, wide clavicles, round shoulders, massive quads, and a really tight waist with a great vacuum, and the kind of shape that definitely screams potential. Now, what's holding him back right now is the density in the back and the conditioning from behind as well, but those will definitely come up in time. Given his age, genetics, and rate of improvement, it's really only a matter of when, not if, he earns his first pro win. For 2025, I would definitely say Juan Pradell lands in that B tier. He's a future star on the rise with a very incredible and promising career ahead. Next up is Michael Kriso, one of the biggest and freakiest physiques in the open division. He started his 2025 season at the Pittsburgh Pro, placing 5th in a pretty strong lineup, and then followed that up with a respectable 3rd place at the New York Pro. After a break, he came back stronger for the post-Olympia tour, winning the British Grand Prix to qualify for the 2026 Olympia, and later taking 3rd at the Prague Pro behind Martin Fitzwwater and Samson Dao. Kriso is known for his massive arms, round shoulders, and most notably his paper-thin skin that makes his conditioning stand out in every single lineup and also every time he competes. His upper body looks insane in the most muscular, but his waist does continue to widen, and his back, glutes, and abs definitely lag behind. Posing has improved, especially in the rear double, but balance remains a big issue for him. Even with those flaws, I would say his size, structure, and condition make him a really dangerous threat at any show. For 2025, Michael Kriso would land in A tier. He's a proven winner and a real top 10 Olympia threat if he makes it there, who could definitely push higher with a few key improvements. Moving on, we have Sergio Oliva Jr., a veteran competitor with one of the more unique physiques in this lineup. He's known for his wide clavicles and pretty impressive arms, but his overall shape has some limitations. His torso is definitely long and kind of wide as well, his lats insert high up, and his lower body and chest do lack in fullness. Conditioning has also been a pretty big issue for him, as he rarely comes in fully dialed in, and has appeared to even be downsized this year compared to his earlier peak nearly a decade ago. Now, in 2025, he competed at the FIBO Pro and took 3rd place, looking better than expected in my own opinion, but then dropped down to 4th at the Pro Muscle Italy show with a really, underwhelming showing. While Sergio Oliva does carry the legacy of his legendary father and has earned respect for his persistence, his physique does not really stack up to the division's current elite. For 2025, I would say that Sergio Oliva Jr. falls into that unfortunate C tier category, representing moments of, potential, but lacking the overall completeness and condition to really contend at the top anymore. Also, if you guys are enjoying the video so far, a like and sub would really be awesome, as it helps out my channel tremendously. Next is Casane Rati, arguably the most consistent bodybuilder in the world right now. His 2025 season was defined by hard work and persistence, competing in 7 shows outside of the Olympia, which is pretty rare at this level. In nearly every single contest, he was in that first call-out, bringing razor-sharp condition and pretty balanced proportions every single time he stepped on stage. That level of reliability and refinement finally paid off with 2 absolutely massive wins at the Toronto Pro and the M-Pro Classic, officially qualifying him for the 2025 Mr. Olympia. Now, even though he did not make a major impact there, his overall season was still very impressive and one of the most impressive out of any pro this year. Physically, he might not have the craziest genetics or structure, but his conditioning is still amazing. He's got that peeled skin, deep separation, and complete detail in every single pose. Now, Casane Rati would land firmly in that A tier for 2025, not just because of sheer dominance or things like that, but for his incredible consistency and professionalism throughout the entire season. Now we move on to Martin Fitzwwater, who had a pretty interesting competitive season in 2025. Earlier in the season, Martin did struggle when it came to peaking. Back at the 2024 Prague Pro, he looked pretty flat at prejudging and barely held off Chris Bumstead for the win, raising some doubts about his readiness coming into 2025. Then at the 2025 Pittsburgh Pro, he came in off again, appearing bloated and watery, which led to a third-place finish behind Derrick Lunsford and Nick Walker, and it really wasn't even close. But after that, Martin went quiet, focused, and put in serious work. When he stepped on stage at the 2025 Olympia, it was a different story entirely. He had razor-sharp condition, a refined structure, and a perfectly tight and controlled midsection. Even though he placed 5th, he beat Nick Walker and showed dramatic improvement from the year prior. Then at the 2025 Prague Pro, he completely stole the show and possibly the entire year, beating Samson Dao and Keon Pearson with one of the most detailed and dense physiques of the entire season, and he's my pick for the best physique of the entire year. His progress in condition, maturity, and presentation definitely make him an easy S-tier bodybuilder for this year, and I could even see an argument for S+. Next up is Urs Kalisinski, who made one of the most impressive transitions of the entire year by moving up from classic physique to the open division. Without even taking a full off-season to grow, he shocked everyone by winning his open debut at the 2025 Pro Muscle Italy, where he looked really big, balanced, and like he truly belonged in this division. A week later, he followed it up with another win at the Europa Pro, going back-to-back and officially qualifying for the Mr. Olympia in the open division. On that stage, he finished 13th place, which is a very respectable debut against the biggest and best in the world. Physically, Urs brought excellent condition and his trademark classic lines, now paired with improved size, fuller arms, and better delts, and even more density in the legs, all the while keeping his midsection tight. Now, he definitely needs more back development and overall side density, but his progress in such a short time span is remarkable. For 2025, I would have Urs in that B tier, representing a breakout season that proved he can hang with the very best, and with a proper offseason, he could easily climb even higher next year. Here's Regan Grimes, a competitor who continues to frustrate fans with a lot of potential, but ongoing inconsistency. Structurally, he has a really impressive frame for this division. He's got wide shoulders, a small waist, and flowing lines that make for a very aesthetic open physique, and it's no surprise as he used to compete in classic physique. Now, his 2025 season started pretty well, with a 4th place finish at the New York Pro, and then a big win at the California State Pro, but then a rather disappointing showing and runner-up placing at the Toronto Pro. At that point, it looked like Regan was somewhat putting it all together, but then by the time the Olympia came around, he fell all the way down to 14th place, showing the same issues that have held him back for years: soft condition, lack of fullness, and an inability to consistently peak when it mattered the most. Finally, he competed at the Mexico Pro, where he took a 2nd place, but honestly, it was not even close between him and Tonio Burton. With his structure, genetics, and everything else, Regan could easily be a top 10 Olympia threat, but until he brings more complete condition and fuller muscle maturity, he's going to remain just outside that level. For 2025, Regan Grimes sits in B tier. He's definitely talented and can win shows, but is still unable to deliver his best look when it really does matter. Next is Andrew Jacked, one of the biggest stars of 2025. Now, he started his season at the Arnold Classic, placing third with a slightly flat but pretty well-conditioned look that showed major improvements in detail and maturity. Then, after that, he went to the 2025 FIBO Pro, where he came in pretty off. He was full but watery, especially at prejudging, and barely held off Casane Rati for the win. At that point, many doubted whether or not Andrew could truly peak when it mattered the most, but when the Olympia came around, he completely silenced all the doubt. Andrew nailed his condition, brought incredible fullness, and delivered arguably the best balance of size and shape we've seen from him yet, earning a well-deserved third place and beating Samson Dao, the reigning champion. He finished his season with another dominant win at the Romania Pro, proving he could hit his peak twice in 1 year, and with his incredibly wide and tall structure, perfect X-frame, symmetrical midsection, and very balanced proportion, Andrew Jacked has one of the most aesthetic yet massive physiques in the entire open division. For 2025, he is firmly in that S+ tier, and if he keeps improving like this, he's on track to become a future Mr. Olympia. Now we have Nick Walker, one of the most talked about and polarizing figures in all of bodybuilding. After missing the Olympia since 2022 and struggling at the 2024 New York Pro, 2025 was set up to be his big comeback season, and for the most part, I would say he delivered on that. He started things off at the Pittsburgh Pro, where he brought incredible fullness, density, and sharp detail, easily one of his best looks in years, and the showdown with Derrick Lunsford was definitely one of the most debated results of the season, with many fans believing Nick deserved to win. He followed up on that momentum by dominating the 2025 New York Pro, showing improved balance and overall mass, but some flaws did start to show through. His midsection control was shaky, his waist appeared wider, and his proportions looked slightly off compared to his earlier years. Then came the Olympia, where things did not click for him. His legs looked flat, his waist control faltered completely, and next to the top names, he simply lacked the same wow factor. Even with that disappointing finish, though, Nick had two great showings earlier in the year, proving that he's one of the hardest workers in the sport. For 2025 and all that considered, I would have Nick Walker sitting in A tier. He's still elite and capable of winning big shows, but with all the structural limitations and inconsistency in peaking, they all keep him just short of the very best in my own opinion. Moving on, we have Quinton Aria, one of the most persistent and hardworking competitors of 2025. While he did not pick up a win this season, he came incredibly close multiple times, proving he belongs among the very best. He started off his run with a strong second-place finish at the Tampa Pro, followed up by a third-place finish at the Texas Pro, then went on to take runner-up again at the Pro Muscle Italy, Europa Pro, and finally France Pro. That level of consistency and willingness to keep competing week after week shows a lot of real dedication to bodybuilding, even if his physique, started to show signs of fatigue later in the season. When fresh, Quinton looked big, full, and impressively balanced, showing real improvement in muscle density and overall presence. Structurally, he does have fantastic genetics. He's got wide shoulders, flowing lines, and excellent proportion, but does still need more size in the legs and back, along with better chest and midsection detail to really reach that next level. For 2025, Quinton Aria earns a solid B-tier placement, representing a year of steady progress and persistence, and I think he's just shy of the breakthrough that he's clearly working hard towards. Next is Brandon Curry, one of the true veterans of the open division and a former Mr. Olympia, who continues to prove his longevity. He competed only twice in 2025, at the Arnold Classic and the Olympia, but both appearances showed that he's still a real contender. At the Arnold, Brandon surprised everyone with one of his best looks in years. He was fuller, more balanced, and with improved lower body development that had long been a really big weakness. He earned a well-deserved fourth-place finish right behind some of the division's top names, and he carried all that momentum right into the Olympia, where he took 7th place, which might not really sound like a career high, but the physique he brought was arguably one of his most complete and refined as well. His conditioning, balance, and presentation were all really impressive, especially given his age and how long he's been at the top level. For 2025, I would definitely say that Brandon Curry sits firmly in A tier, which is proof of his experience, professionalism, and ability to stay competitive among a new generation of rising stars. Now we move on to one of Brandon Curry's longtime rivals, Bonak, a veteran who continues to defy age and all expectations. At over 40 years old, Bonak still brought a very incredible level of condition and refinement throughout his entire 2025 season, competing in 6 shows and looking impressive at all of them. He started the year off at the Arnold Classic, finishing 5th with a dense, detailed physique that proved he still belongs among the very best. His best showing, in my own opinion, came at the Detroit Pro, where he won and secured his Olympia qualification, showcasing his trademark roundness, thick muscle bellies, and very sharp condition. From there, he placed 4th at the Pittsburgh Pro in a very stacked lineup, 2nd at the New York Pro behind Nick Walker, and then 2nd again at the Dubai Pro, maintaining a very high level of performance across every single show. At the Olympia, he rounded out the year with a 9th place finish, not an all-time best placing, but being in the top 10 is still a massive accomplishment. Despite some slight physique changes like smaller triceps and a partial lat tear, Bonak's shape, detail, and fullness still remain world-class. For 2025 then, I would have Bonak for sure in A tier, as he is representing one of the most consistent and inspiring careers still going on today. Next up is Hottie Chupin, one of the most respected and consistent champions in modern bodybuilding. Now, he only competed once this season, focusing entirely on reclaiming his Mr. Olympia title, and when he stepped on stage, he brought that trademark granite condition and precision as well that we have seen from his entire career. Sharp lines, flawless midsection control, and incredible presence. From the front, Hottie looked as refined and complete as ever, but there were definitely some few subtle changes that stood out. His lower body from the back appeared slightly smaller compared to previous years, and a minor quad imbalance was noticeable from the front. Still, his posing execution, balance, and overall command of the stage were exceptional, and many felt he had a strong case to win the show, especially after Derrick Lunsford began to fade at the finals. Now, Hottie Chupin remains one of the most complete bodybuilders in the entire world, with many years of elite condition and consistency behind him. So for 2025, I would have him without a doubt in S+ tier. He's a modern legend whose precision and presence continue to define what championship-level bodybuilding looks like. Here we have Tonio Burton, one of the most balanced and steadily improving competitors right now. He competed 4 times this season, starting with a win at the 2024 Legion Sports Fest, which qualified him for the 2025 Mr. Olympia. Now, earlier in the year, he placed 3rd at the Dubai Pro, where many fans, including myself, thought that he was definitely overlooked, despite bringing excellent balance, shape, and trademark condition. That said, his most impressive performance this year came at the Mr. Olympia, where he took 8th place, proving that his top 10 finish in 2023 was no fluke. Tonio closed out his season with a dominant win at the 2025 Mexico Pro, looking incredibly complete even under really bad stage lighting. Physically, he brings a very aesthetic combination of full quads, a really impressive back, and precise condition every time he competes. In my opinion, the only thing holding him back from elite status is overall mass and thickness, especially against the division's largest athletes, but for 2025, Tonio Burton definitely gets that A tier, as he represents one of the most complete and consistent physiques right now, and he's definitely a clear threat to break into that top 6 if he keeps on building size. Up next is Vitalio Gonikov, one of the most promising rising stars in the open division. He started this year off at the Arnold Brazil, where he won but really wasn't at his best in my opinion. His conditioning was slightly off, which led some to label him as more of an Instagram bodybuilder than a real stage threat. While his online photos always showed him looking ultra dry and vascular, and also really massive, that version did not really fully translate on stage at first. However, he turned things around in a big way later in the season. At his Olympia debut, Vitali cracked the top 10 with one of the most impressive shapes in the entire lineup, displaying incredible quad detail and sweep, wide clavicles, and a very complete upper body as well. In my opinion, his physique blends the freak factor of Nick Walker, the structure of Derrick Lunsford, and the balance of Martin Fitzwwater, a mix that gives him massive long-term potential. He definitely does need more back density and overall thickness to compete with the very best, and even stand toe-to-toe with the guys I just mentioned, but I would definitely say the foundation is already there. For 2025, I would have Vitalio Gonikov in A tier, as he's one of my favorite up-and-coming athletes, and I definitely think in the upcoming years he will be a top 6 threat for sure. Next is Jordan Hutchinson, one of the most exciting young competitors making his mark in 2025. He had a breakout season, winning both the Tampa Pro and the Texas Pro back-to-back, which was a huge statement that showed just how much progress he's made since last year. At both shows, he was peeled to the bone, with excellent dryness, tight skin, and very impressive balance across most poses. His conditioning and polish stood out as some of the best on stage, earning him a well-deserved Olympia qualification. At his Olympia debut, he placed 12th, which is a very respectable finish and a clear sign that he's close to breaking into that top 10. While Jordan's work ethic and consistency are undeniable, he definitely has some areas to work on, particularly his arms, back thickness, and midsection aesthetics. But given his age and rapid rate of development, it's really only a matter of time before he makes another leap forward. For 2025, I would have Jordan Hutchinson in B tier, representing a rising star with amazing condition and a lot of potential to become a top-tier contender in the near future. Now we've got Samson Dao, the 2024 Mr. Olympia, who entered 2025 with such high expectations. After his dominant win the previous year, many believed this was going to be the start of his era, I guess, but 2025 did not go the way that anyone or himself could have expected. At the Arnold Classic, Samson came in big and full as usual, but his conditioning was not there. Derrick Lunsford brought his all-time best and managed to beat him, marking Samson's first major loss in over a year. That defeat set the tone for the rest of the season. Heading into the Olympia, the pressure was definitely immense, but when he walked on stage, he did not look like the same champion. His legs were smaller, his midsection appeared softer, and the sharper detail that his 2024 look was missing in my own opinion. He ended up placing 4th, a huge drop for a reigning champion, and then at the Prague Pro, he looked to bounce back but was defeated again, this time by Martin Fitzwwater, whom he had just beaten weeks prior at the Olympia. While Martin was incredible that day and nothing can take that away from him, the loss still showed that Samson's momentum had faded significantly. For 2025, Samson Dao sits in that S tier. I know this might be controversial as he is one of the most complete physiques in this division, but a step behind the dominance that once made him absolutely unbeatable. Moving on to Rubio Mascara, one of the most hyped and genetically gifted bodybuilders for mass, but someone who cannot really put it all together. Known for his freaky muscle size and round shape, expectations for him have always been higher than they should. His season started slow with a top 6 finish at the Dubai Pro, where he had the mass but lacked the condition that he needed to stand out. Shortly after, he came back and won back-to-back titles at the Italy and Portugal Pro with some of the best condition and balance of his entire career. Those victories had fans believing he might carry that momentum into the Olympia and finally make a real impact. Unfortunately, this did not happen. On the Olympia stage, Rubio looked flat and watery, completely missing the sharpness he had shown earlier in the year, which led to a disappointing 15th place finish. Beyond the physique itself, his laid-back attitude towards competing often gives the impression that he's not really fully locked in, which can be frustrating considering his freakish potential. For 2025, Rubio Mascara lands in B tier. He has a lot of potential and talent with solid genetics, but he is still so far away from maximizing what he's truly capable of. Next is Aake Williams, a seasoned veteran who had a mixed and ultimately disappointing 2025 season. He competed 3 times this year, starting at the Arnold Classic, where he looked surprisingly solid, finishing in the top 6 and showing strong fullness, especially during the finals where he tends to peak better. Coming off his Spain Pro win at the end of 2024, expectations were kind of high leading into the Olympia, but that's where things fell apart for him. Aake came in flat, lacking the trademark size and pop that usually makes him stand out. His upper body did not have its usual roundness, and his chronic weakness, his high lat insertions and missing lower back, severely hurt him in both back poses. He ended up outside of the top 15, which is a major setback compared to his prior showings. Afterwards, he competed at the Poland Pro and finished 4th, which again felt underwhelming for someone who was once seen as a reliable contender. Overall, though, 2025 was a step backwards in my opinion for Aake, marked by inconsistency and fading momentum. For this season, I would have him in C tier, reflecting a rough year for a veteran who still has the strength and all the muscle mass but needs to regain his condition and ability to peak well to really stay relevant. Here's Brett Wilkin, a bodybuilder who continues to show signs of potential but has yet to fully deliver on it. After winning the 2024 Allegiant Sports Fest, Brett earned his qualification for the 2025 Olympia and took the entire year off to focus on improving his size and balance. I expected this to be his breakout year, but when he stepped on stage at the Olympia, he placed outside the top 15, which was a clear sign that something went wrong for him. While his conditioning was pretty solid, he looked undersized across the board. His legs, back, and arms all lacked a lot of the mass that was needed to compete against the very best. His narrow structure didn't help this either, and noticeable shaking during posing hurt his presentation even more. It's disappointing given how hard he trains and how much effort he clearly puts into bodybuilding, but the improvements simply have not translated yet. For 2025, Brett Wilkin lands in C tier. He's a hard worker with a lot of potential that is really not going to materialize, in my opinion, if he doesn't change something soon. Second to last is Beirus Tobani, a long-hyped competitor who finally made his long-awaited Olympia debut in 2025. For years, many thought that he had the potential to break into the top call-out the very moment he stepped on stage. Coming off a strong win at the Dubai Pro earlier in the summer, there were expectations that Beirus would make a major impact. Unfortunately, his showing at the Olympia did not really meet the hype. His conditioning was noticeably off, and standing next to the top-tier pros, his size and overall impact did not really hold up. He ended up placing 11th, which is a respectable debut, but far below what many fans were expecting from him. The main issue still remains to be his legs, which lack a lot of sweep and deep separation, holding him back from achieving full balance. While he is solid from the side and back, and has a great upper body all around, he still needs more density and refinement to really challenge the division's elite. For 2025, Beirus Tobani fits solidly in B tier. He does show a lot of flashes of potential and had a very solid debut, but still there are a few key improvements that he can make to really break through in this division. Finally, we have Derrick Lunsford, probably the most controversial bodybuilder of the entire decade. After placing third in his Olympia title defense in 2024, many fans had written him off for this year, but Derrick came back determined to prove himself to everyone, and I guess he definitely did exactly that. At the 2025 Arnold Classic, he brought his best physique ever. He was full, balanced, and razor sharp, defeating the reigning Mr. Olympia Samson Dao in a very decisive victory that reestablished his dominance. He followed that up with another win at the Pittsburgh Pro, beating out Nick Walker despite being slightly flatter than at the Arnold. Now, Derrick's posing, structure, and composure carried him through both battles, and then at the Olympia, where he once again rose to the occasion, he reclaimed his title in a close and controversial showdown with the legend Hottie Chupin. Whether you think he deserved every win or not, the results do speak for themselves. Derrick was the most successful and consistent competitor of this season. For 2025, I would say he's firmly an S+ tier, proving that championship mentality and elite execution, and maybe some politics as well, still set him apart from all the rest. Anyways, guys, that about does it for this video. Let me know down below in the comments your thoughts and opinions, and I do hope you enjoyed. With that all being said, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.